tapped in, tuned in, turned all the way on. This ain't just a vibe, it's a freak scene bomb. Ms.Blue in the building, Oracle flow, cracking codes of the cosmos, now you already know. Yeah. Ride the wave, feel the light, it's frequency love tonight. Ms.Blue gon' take you higher, burning truth with sacred fire. Stay hungry. This is soul talk, rebirth from the womb. Say it with me, I can alter my course at any time. Tap in, turn on. Your higher self already logged in.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Peace and greetings, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome on in. Hi, how are you all doing? How are you all feeling? Happy Tuesday. Happy Choose You Day. Welcome to everyone for joining me here. I am Ms.Blue, the Soulful Oracle, and I trust that you all are having a wonderful morning, night, afternoon, evening. And I want to say thank you for you joining me in this episode of Divine Timing. And boy, do we have a great episode. I want to see where you all are checking in from. I see the blue room is filling up. So welcome on in. Oh my goodness. Wow. Welcome on in. Mm-hmm. We're going to get started, you guys. Listen, for those of you who are in California, are you guys still getting some of the earthquakes? Even South Carolina, different places around the world. We know other countries are, but the weather is changing. One of the things, lots of fires going on and things happening with the water. Tonight, we're going to be talking about divine timing. I'll get into that, but I definitely want you to go back and listen to the prediction show that I did for 2025, because it's going to speak to the water. It's going to speak to the fires and speak to the things that are happening, even some of the discoveries that are going on, which were many of those predictions. But welcome on in. I see Miles is checking in from Tampa, Florida. Linus Rising is checking in from Newburgh, New York. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Virginia, USA in the building. Love it when you guys are putting the USA after. Welcome on in. Bull City, North Carolina. Shiva is checking in. We know about Bull City. Welcome on in. Bridget B is in the house. Welcome on in. Ghetto Physics says, as far as earthquake, it hasn't been, but the heat is turned up in LA. Welcome on in. Tasha is checking in from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Listen, for all of you South Carolina folks, why didn't anybody tell me about Lizard Man? Yeah, we're going to have to talk about Lizard Man another time. Checking in from FT Cavazi, Texas. Welcome on in. Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome on in. Hartford, Connecticut. Welcome on in. I want to say welcome to everyone. Canada is in the building. I am 88876. That's a mouthful. Welcome on in from Alberta, Canada. I believe that is. That's right. Lizard Man. You didn't know about Lizard Man? Sammy, you in the building. How come you didn't tell me about Lizard Man, Sammy? My sister put me on to Lizard Man. Major Arcana. Phoenix, Arizona had a big thunderstorm last night. Phoenix, Arizona got a lot of things happening at this time. That's going on in the Arizona area. Even some tremors happening. Georgia, the United States, is checking in. Welcome on in. The word doula, you are back in LA. Welcome back in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Libra L Bay, representing formally FT Hood. Welcome on in. Welcome on in, everybody. Wow. North Charleston, South Carolina is checking in. Got a lot of South Carolina in the building. Wow. Welcome on in. Listen, I'm not going to get into a lot of it. I do have a few announcements. One of which, let me tell you guys what I'm wearing tonight. I'm wearing I Feel. If you know, you know. Remember, I am and I feel the Know Your Magic Claire Magic Oils. Oh my goodness. Amazing. Amazing. We have Hugh, which is Griffin, checking in from Kingston, Jamaica. Welcome on into Michelle. Welcome on in. We're going to dive into the share, but I do have a few announcements. First of all, I want to welcome you guys in. And if you are new here, let me be the first to say welcome. Welcome on in. And so good to see you. So good to have you. Lola Falana is in the building. Erica Dawson is here. Welcome in. BB Grandma is in the building. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Holla here at Austin, Texas, my city. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Good to have you here. So listen, I have a surprise, and many of you might have woke up to a surprise, or you might have went to sleep to a surprise. I want to say this first. First, I want to give a cosmic shout out to everyone who got the Mystic Decoder, the Galactic E-Files. Listen, welcome to everyone who got the Mystic Decoder, the Galactic E-Files. I want you to understand your energy, your courage, your commitment to doing this work keeps opening doors for all of us. So please continuously keep to do that work. And I want you guys to know it actually sold out 4 times. Like it sold out 3 times, and I opened a small window for the 4th time. It's sold out for 4 times. So if you missed it, make sure to go back. And I want you, let me stay focused. I'm trying to read chat and trying to be present. Welcome everybody on in. Your energy is amazing. I can feel it. And I'm excited about our guest tonight. Oh my goodness. We're going to be diving into that. But for everyone who got the Mystic Decoder, I want you to know that your energy, your courage, and the commitment keeps opening doors for all of us. And I'm going to get into that for a minute. And then also, I want to remind you guys, if you did not watch our last Divine Timing episode with Brother Justin, you definitely want to go back and catch that. It was fire. It was raw. It was exactly the conversation we needed. So if you have not checked out that episode, please make sure you go back. Go back to that show. Yeah. Yeah. It's a guide to prepare your energy for one of the biggest portals of the year. Trust me, you'll want that frequency in your system. But tonight is going to be all about divine timing and a return of another giver. We have another giver that's coming on. But before I get to welcoming our guests on, I want you all to know who got the Galactic E-Files, the Mystic Decoder. I have added something very, very special. Um, Not to mention, we will have the live transmission call that will be coming up. But I have added a daily activation quest. And this daily activation quest is what you are to listen to in the morning. And it's really just going to align all the work that you're doing with the 7 suns in the Mystic Decoder and the Galactic E-Files. It's just going to take it to a whole nother level. check your email because the details are there of how you can get access to this file. I see many of you have. You're going to check the email you signed up with. This is a super bonus that I decided to add to the Mystic Decoder. So you will have the daily activation quest that you will listen to first thing in the morning or as you're getting yourself ready in the morning. And it's going to instantly elevate your frequency, shift your consciousness, and really help you tap into your higher self. You're going to listen to that in the day, in the morning. And then you're going to have the night vision quest. And you're going to do this activity and listen to this right before you go to sleep. I cannot tell you how excited I am for you all to have your hands on this. I have been working with it myself. And, I said, you know what? I'm going to add this to the Mystic Decoder. So you will have this quest cycle and you have access to it now. You're just going to check in your email and you're checking in your email for the Galactic E-Files Mystic Decoder. And you can even put in Ms.Blue. Please check your spam and your social folder. And the step-by-step directions are there to show you how to access it and how to download. If you have any questions, you can always email me at questionforblue@gmail.com. Okay, I'm back. I just needed to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So there you go. Let me know how you enjoy it. You can definitely go back and leave a review underneath the Mystic Decoder. We are going to be having our live transmission call here this month. We're going to get that in. The goal is to get that in before the end of this month, especially with so much of this Venus, beautiful Venetian energy that is coming up at this time. So I'm super excited. Let me know how you love it. Let me know how you're working with the quest cycle. You're going to have a daily activation quest and you also have a night vision quest. Both of those are in there. Definitely check your email. You'll be able to get access to both of those files. I am super excited for you to get your hands on it and start adding this and working with your magic. So again, shouts out to everyone who have the Mystic Decoder. And this is just it's just a superstar bonus for you all who are doing this work. I'm truly grateful for you and all of the feedback you've been giving me so much and sending me emails telling me how much you're working with this and how transformative it has been because it is empowering you, which is all the work that I teach, so that you can have these things and activate them within yourself and utilize them to just enhance your life and live your dreams and, really, really just step into more of who you are. So there you go. Well, listen, I am so excited. We have our guest that's getting ready to come on, Kristine, and we're going to be getting into it. I got a lot of questions to ask her. Tonight is all about divine timing. And this divine timing series is about the return of another giver. And this one of my students, one of the quiet warriors, you know, someone who has been able to bridge the world of therapy, corporate America, and intuition. We're going to be welcoming to join us here live. We're going to have Kristine sing. And many of you know her. She's definitely been in the classes and been doing the work. So I know many of you are very, very aware of Kristine, of who she is. We're going to bring her on now. And so let's give a very, very, very loving and powerful welcome to Divine Timings, Kristine Singh.
Blue. Hello.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Welcome on in, Kristine. Welcome in. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's such an honor. And hello, Soul family, and everyone who's in the chat. Yeah, I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling good.
Well, it is so good to have you here and have you joining us on Divine Timing. Uh, oh my goodness, I am just I'm overjoyed to have you come on, and especially on this day. You know, this is Tuesday. This is all about Choose You Day. But Kristine, before we dive in to all things and start talking about those things of corporate America, the boardroom, all of that, and soul work, I want to start here. Let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
Your beginning, I can say with me. How did you first hear about me, and what made you want to step into this frequency?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I feel like I always talk about how I came across you. And something that I always remember is you always mention is, when the student is ready, the teacher is going to appear. And this was, I think it was back in 2021. I
Mm,
was new to Clubhouse and I was just like, searching a lot of spiritual rooms of like astrology, this and that. And somehow I honestly do not know how I just happened to come across your room. And I remember joining and I automatically somehow got onto the stage. Again, I was very new to Clubhouse and I immediately got out of the room and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on." But somehow like I kept coming across your room and I would join in and I would listen. And I always remember you talking about spirit guides and everyone coming in to ask about how many spirit guides they have. And that was, I think, one of the first questions I remember coming to ask you was like, "Hi," like, I was so nervous. I'm like in the corner of my room whispering. I'm like, "Hi, Ms.Blue. Like, I wanted to know how many spirit guides I have." And that is how I found you as Clubhouse. And ever since then, I've been tuned in and it's been
yes.
like 4 or 5 years. And so
Wow.
it's been such a beautiful journey.
Wow. Wow. So those clubhouse days were so electrifying and so powerful. And I always like to ask people, like, how did we connect? Where was that connection? But here's the thing, you didn't stop there. I know you didn't stop with one class because you've been in some of the classes. You've leaned in again and again. I think you're part of the futuristic group, right?
Yes.
And the session before that, you kept saying yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Why? Why did you keep coming back to this space? What was calling you from inside?
I think it's for me, it was like finding a space with other people who are interested in just learning about spirituality. But I feel like you are teaching it from such a different lens that I was never aware of. And so I think
Mm,
that was something that kept bringing me. And it's funny because I found you on Clubhouse and I remember I would try to like see if you had other rooms coming up. And then somehow I landed, I think either on your Instagram and I found out you had a YouTube channel. And then I started tuning in on YouTube like every week. And everything that you're sharing, it's like, about the astrology, numerology, spirit guides, angels, ancestors, like everything that I'm like, people, not enough people are talking about this. And that's where I just wanted to be in community. It's such a sacred space. um,
mm,
and you always kept talking about self-invested, self-invested. I'm like, what is this? And I finally, I was able to join. I think that was in 2022 going into 2023. And, all the classes that I've taken, like even the spirit guide class, like all the classes that I've taken, I've always learned something new. And I just feel like it
mm.
has been my own practice of just um, how I'm showing up, how I'm working with my guides, ancestors, how I address them now. it's
Wow.
very it's so good. I love it so much. I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you. That is powerful. Now, as fascinating as that is, your story is even more fascinating to me because your story doesn't start here. You know, you identify as a woman of color and rooted into um, the Fijian Indian heritage. You know, your whole culture is a frequency. It has shaped how we see ourselves. We know how powerful culture is. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we heal, how we lead.
Mhm.
How has your heritage shaped the way you walk through therapy? Because that's a big part of your background. We're going to talk about that. Corporate America, and now your multisensory abilities and your intuition. How has your heritage helped you to shape this?
Yes. Wow. I love that question so much because, you know, who I am is so much, part of the work that I do, right? Like I identify as Fijian-Indian, first gen, a woman of color, and it shapes so much of how I view the world and how I move in the world, especially when it comes to, therapy, working with clients, whether it's therapy clients, coaching clients, something that really has shaped me is like my own upbringing and understanding of like everyone has a different upbringing, everyone has a different culture, and so just being able to learn, allowing myself to learn from my clients has been really helpful, where it's like they're the expert in themselves, and because I'm so in tune with my own culture, I want to be able to learn about their culture and also bridge the gap, because even though we all come from different backgrounds, there's so many similarities, right? There's so many things that cross over of, how our culture shapes our upbringing, the way that we are in community with others. Um, and so that has definitely shaped how I just view people, and the work that I do is really understanding my culture and bridging that gap. And bridging that, gap when I'm working with clients is like, I understand because I maybe have experienced something very similar, whether that's through culture or my own experience.
Yeah, and that is so powerful. And coming from, you know, the Fiji Islands, which is so beautiful. You can't help but think of something so amazing and powerful when you even begin to start thinking about your culture and, you know, really about how that whole heritage is showing up in your world. And I love that. I love that. Absolutely love that. And then there is another layer, and that is about being a first gen, right? And I want you to speak to this, especially being first gen and what that means to you of being first gen. You know, it's like holding two worlds at once. You know, it's like you get to carry your ancestral dreams while building something brand new. But what does that mean for you as being a first gen woman?
Yes. Wow. I love that. And everything that you just shared, I want to add on top of that, where it's like, when we were talking about, being first gen is really being that translator, right? Being that translation between, we have
Mm.
our cultural traditions, and now we're in this new world of America where things look different. And so, being, me and my sister being the first generation born in the US, being the first generation to seek higher education, there's like a lot of barriers that were in the way, whether
Wow.
it's like trying to bridge of like, letting our parents know like, hey, it's okay that we're leaving the home to go to school, right? Things like that. I
Wow.
feel like just being the first of everything. And when I think about being first gen, I really see it as my superpower, because I think it's such a unique experience where sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like I'm American enough, or I don't feel like I'm Fijian enough, because when you're here, I know this is something that you have mentioned. It's like we really got to claim, the USA, and that kind of really definitely changed my perspective. But it's like sometimes when you're here, it's like, okay, we're not American enough. But when we go back home, it's like, oh, they already know we're from overseas, we're American. And sometimes we don't feel as,
Mm.
Fijian enough, right? Indo Fijian enough. But for me, I'm like, you know what? Like at the end of the day, like that makes us unique, where we have those two cultures that are blended together. And that's also part of the first gen experience too, is like knowing ourselves, knowing our story, and honoring that two worlds that we are able to carry along the side.
Wow, that is so powerful. But you said something there. We can't skim back past this, Kristine, because it was so profound. You said being a first gen is being a translator. And because so much of what you're doing is in the translation, you're translating your culture, your history into a new space, into a new place. And then for you to be able to see it as a superpower, because so many people that I've come in contact with that are first generations, they do feel that disconnect, like you were saying. It's like it's like you're not fitting into this new world you're in, and it's sort of your where your roots and your heritage is. It's like you're when you go back, it's kind of like you're different there, and how you bridge those two together, understanding it's a superpower. And that's exactly what I want to give you. You understood what I was saying about where you are. You anchor yourself in that space. It's not giving your power away, but it's really sort of rooting you to where you are, where you are. So that's how you activate the land of where you are to activate that superpower. And wow, that's a profound. I've never heard anyone express being a first gen the way that you so eloquently put that together, because it is a powerful place of position. Mhm.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I love that you are so open, because you are more quiet than most, wouldn't you say? But
Yeah.
quiet can be disruptive in the
Mm-hmm.
most powerful way. And so this is what I want to ask you. Have you ever felt your silence shake a room harder than any words could?
Ooh, wow. 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 That is definitely um very powerful. One, because I think this quietness is something new to me that I'm truly embodying, because I have always been a very shy, quiet person, but I'm also very extroverted, where I'm like happy, excited, loud. But as I get older, I notice I have become a lot quieter, and I notice that I'm an observer. I like
Mm.
to pick up off the energy, or I like to just observe people and how they're interacting or communicating. And so I would say again, like, how you mentioned, it's like, have I ever felt like my silence has shaken a room? And I'm like trying to think where I think where it's like sometimes when I absorb information, and being when at the moment that I finally actually get to speak out, whether it's on injustices that are happening in the workplace or advocating on people's behalf, I think this people thinking that I'm silent is shaking the room once I'm able to speak and maybe advocate on my behalf for others. So I would say in that way it has definitely like shaken a room, where maybe people think I'm quiet, but then finally speaking up, it's like, whoa, okay, you were listening.
You're like,
You were
they're
tuning
like,
in.
they're like, oh my goodness, yes, you are listening. She is paying attention. I love that. And so I think it's so profound. As a therapist and a career coach, you were trained in structure, like so much structure, right? But somewhere along the way, your intuition walked in. What was that moment when you realize intuition belongs here too? And did that shock you when you realized, like, wait a minute? Yeah.
You know what? When I think about intuition, I'm like, I finally have a word for it, right? Like, I finally have this word intuition, because I think that intuition is showing up like, oh, like I just have this gut feeling that something good's going to happen or something bad's going to happen. Or sometimes you're like, I just sense that something is off, or, we tap into these senses, this gut feeling. And now I'm translating it to that. That's the intuition piece. And, I notice it a lot in the therapy room when I'm working with clients, where, a lot of the times what they say is like the clients share surface level stuff, but they might, beat around the bush around what they really want to talk about. And so I feel like the intuition really speaks there, where it's like being able to formulate questions to dive in deeper to what they really want to talk about. Because my intuition is speaking like this is not what they want to talk about. They're beating around the bush. And then usually maybe like the last 10 to 5 minutes is when they start talking about that deep rooted thing that they want to talk about. And now we only have 5 minutes, but it's your intuition that's speaking like this client really wants to share something a lot deeper, but they don't maybe have the words for it. So being able to ask questions, I think, is really helpful. So that's how I think intuition really
Mm.
shows up in the therapy space.
In the therapy space. And were you really shocked when you realized, like, wow, my intuition picked up on this immediately?
Mhm.
And this is completely different than maybe how you were aware or conscious prior before.
Yeah. I think you always say that there is levels to it.
Yeah.
There is definitely levels to it, because when I when I think about past experiences, like I was looking at my client as a whole, where it's like I'm thinking about their culture, the upbringing, the environment, and that's when the intuition is talking. It's like, they may have experienced X, Y, and Z, but they're not talking about it. But through my own lived experience or understanding of that background culture, then you kind of make that connection. But now I feel like now is the time where I'm very, very deep into the intuition, where it's like now I'm seeing it, where it's like, this is exactly what it was. I was seeing the person as a whole, and my intuition was guiding me to understand, what they were experiencing on a deeper level.
Mhm.
So now I'm like, yeah, that was my intuition talking, right? And so that is allowing me to even deepen the practice of leaning in on my intuition.
Yeah, powerful. Has it made you a better therapist?
I would say yes. And something I want to, because I just took the all frequency class, and I feel
Yeah.
like that was the moment where
Mm,
I finally was like, you know what? I am an intuitive guide. And I think
yes.
that that's when I finally was like, I have to start claiming those gifts of being intuitive. And so after that class, I'm like, you know what? I want to be able to bring that intuition into the therapy room to kind of fact check my own, like, intuition. And so
Yes.
that is something that I'm really wanting to incorporate now, more than ever, because especially even like being able to read their energy, things like that, I think that can be really helpful. I haven't dove into it yet, but that is something that I want to start doing and incorporating.
Yeah. And when it comes to your career coaching, how has your multisensory abilities assisted you in that practice? I mean, I don't know how you do it. Like, you are bad intuitive, you're a professional therapist, you're a career coach, you know?
Yes. Yes. I'm a multi-passionate person. And so, I have a love for career coaching, and I have definitely used it here and there when it comes to career coaching with my intuitive abilities. But I think like after the class is definitely where I'm like, I want to start deepening and bringing
Mhm,
that into this space,
mhm.
where I'm like, maybe trying to figure out the client's energy before going into session to see what's coming up. And even doing it while in session. So that's something that I want to start doing now, a lot more than I probably was before.
Wow, I love that. That is so powerful. I want to talk about some of the work that you do and put it under the lens of corporate America, because we know corporate America really rewards hustle, logic, and volume. But one of the things you teach your clients is that slowing down, listening inward is actually the power move.
Mhm.
How do you break that to someone who has been trained to run on overdrive?
Yes. Wow. I love that question so much, because, this has been something that I have been unlearning myself and
Mm,
wanting to share with others too, because very similar when I was really early in my career, it was like that's all I knew. It's like you gotta hustle, 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 you gotta make it to the top, or like climb the corporate ladder. And then, you easily start to notice that you're burning out, or that maybe it's not as achievable because there's that you know corporate stuff that goes on in the back. But I think it's like really sharing, you know does this align with your values, right? Does
Mm,
burning out, hustling really serve you in your life, in your values, and really understanding like what's really important, right? Is it maybe being more creative and doing something on your own, or how are you helping the your company, organization, but more in a healthy way where you don't have to burn yourself out, because you don't need to work overtime, long hours to prove your worth.
mm,
I think that that's really sometimes that's why we kind of hustle and we're grinding so much, is maybe we're trying to prove this, that I'm worth that promotion. And
yes.
so really having to unlearn that, I think, is really important in the work that I do a lot with the women that I work with.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that you have a coaching program as a therapist, as a intuitive guide, that you can merge these worlds together because you can understand it. You're living it. You understand, you're living all aspects of it, and you're walking with women and helping them to achieve their personal goals that they want in life. But also keeping that balance and knowing that there is so much more to the story and so many different ways to achieve that level of what we like to call success, whatever that may be for that person. I think that is so profound.
Yeah.
So now I want a story. I
Mm.
do. I want a story from you. The kind that makes you shake your head. uh, so, Kristine, tell me about a time when your intuition saved you. That moment where if you had not listened, your whole path would have gone left.
Yeah. Wow. Listening to my intuition. I'm like trying to think. That's a great. I'm like, I feel like I have a few, but I'm like trying to think which one would be a good one to share, where my intuition. Ooh, yeah. I'm like, you know what? I would have to say, um, where my intuition saved me. I would say like early on in my career, um, I was working in higher education and I really enjoyed it. It was something that I wanted to do. I
Mhm.
wanted to work in a college setting with students. I was doing exactly that. And I loved my team, but things started transitioning. And the people that I worked with and they started leaving. Um, and I was reporting to someone new, and things just felt really toxic. And I could physically feel it in my
Mm,
body. At that time, right, I didn't know that that was why I was feeling those physical symptoms.
wow.
And in that moment, that was my intuition talking, right? I didn't have the word for intuition, but that was my intuition, where it's like, Kristine, you know what? You don't need this that much, right? And back then, I was this rebellious person where I would just make a decision and it happens. And I ended up, leaving that organization. And I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I had just signed a lease to my apartment. And I'm like, oh my God, I just quit my job. I need to try to find something. And I I kid you not, I think the stars were aligning in my favor. I was talking to an old roommate of mine and I was telling her how I was looking for a job. And she was like, hey, like send over your resume to my friend. Her team is hiring. And in the middle of that, I just happened to find a job at a coffee shop. And I had my interview at this job, and everything was just happening so quickly. I happened to just go to that coffee shop job for one day because I ended up getting that next job, and that was in a complete different industry. I was going from higher education into the tech industry,
Yeah.
which I had thought I would probably have to be a lot older to be in that industry. But for it to just kind of happen so quickly, if I didn't listen to my intuition to leave that job that was feeling really toxic, it wouldn't have quickly aligned me to this opportunity, this new industry that I was in for 5 years.
Wow.
So that was definitely that is definitely a story I tell often, and I really remember, because if I didn't take a chance on me and really leaning in on that inner knowing, that intuition, I wouldn't have experienced this whole new world.
Wow. Wow. Profound. Profound. I love it. So all of those things led because, and I know it had to be scary to
Oh yeah.
just say, I'm going to quit this job, you know? But you said it was making you sick. The environment had become very toxic
Yes.
and you just signed a new lease and then things just align for you because that's how intuition works.
Hmm.
And you were able to really step out on faith within yourself and to know that things will work in your order. You understand your higher order. That is profound. I knew you had quite a few of those stories, you
Hmm.
know?
And I just want to add to that because the first gen experience was also really heavy in that moment too, because I didn't tell my parents that I quit my job because I was so afraid and ashamed to leave this job, right? This job, this money,
Mm,
like, the way that our parents think. I was so ashamed to let them know. And then when I ended up telling them, it wasn't really a big deal, but it was just like that, those thoughts of like how I thought
um,
they would perceive it. Um,
mhm.
because they worked so hard, they would never leave a job like that. And so for me to do it and break the rules, I
Yes.
was so shameful and afraid, but it ended up working out for me.
Yeah, that is powerful because do you feel there's different expectations on being the first generation as the children coming, from another country to a different place? Is there certain expectations because your parents sacrificed so much for the family? Yeah.
100%. Yes, I think it's like just wanting to honor them, honor their sacrifice, honor the family name, all these things, right? I feel like that unexpected, weight on our shoulders. And again, this is something that in the past, like, few years, I have been unlearning as well, where it's like, it's okay to walk a different path than what is expected of me. Because that
Mhm.
expectation also comes with so many weight of like, okay, if this doesn't look good on paper,
Mhm.
this might look good on paper, but am I feeling good internally?
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's something that has been really good to finally unlearn and walk a different path.
Oh, that's powerful. I know I was strolling on the gram and I seen one of your pictures. I believe it might have been one of your college graduation pictures
Yes.
when you were dressed so beautiful in your native attire, in your ancestral lineage, there. And I want to talk about that. Let's bring your lineage into the room with us here. You know, if your Fijian-Indian ancestors were sitting in on one of your coaching sessions today, what would they say? Number one. And what would they be just applauding or roast you with love? What do you think they would say? Because we know that part too. We know that part too. Yeah.
Yes. You know what's so funny? Because I think like the first thing that comes to my mind is like honor, right? Like
Mhm.
honoring them, um and them being very really proud, because I think when I think a lot about ancestors, like known and unknown, and I think about their silence, but I also think about their resilience. And so seeing me and doing this, like getting a master's degree, having my own business, all that kind of stuff, things that they may have wanted but they weren't able to achieve themselves, and so being able to have that, I feel like they're applauding me, they're with me every step of the way. And that's
Yeah.
why for my masters, I was like, I'm going to dress in my traditional attire, because for me, that was important to honor my ancestors.
Yeah.
Um, and because, like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And even coming into the mental health field is such an honor,
Mm.
because I think about how mental health is such a huge stigma in my community and so many other communities. And that also is what drives me to be in this field. So I would say that they're applauding me. They're right there with me. They were like,
Yes.
yes. So that's how I think that they would be if they were sitting at a table with me or in this room. Or I'm pretty
Perfect.
sure they're in this room too.
Oh,
So
yes, for
yeah.
sure, for sure. I love that. And I want to talk a little bit more about that for those who may not know. When you talk about your ancestral line, give us an inside scope of what is that? I know that you are from the Fiji Islands, but what does that lineage look like?
Yes. My parents born and raised in Fiji, my grandparents born and raised in Fiji. I think, it's it's kind of hard to track back to who exactly from our lineage came from what is now known as India, right? They came down to Fiji as an indentured laborer. I think that was back in um, 1834. And so they were brought to different places like, Trinidad, Tobago, South Africa, and Fiji also being one of them. And this is something that I was really diving into in 2020, where I was like, I really want to know like who from our family, was the one to come. And I've learned that it may have been, at least on my dad's side,
Yes.
um, his great grandfather. I believe he came when he was maybe really young, like 12 years old, on
Wow.
one of the boats. But that's the closest that I have ever gotten to know like who from our lineage has come from India to Fiji. But I would love to learn and, learn more, understand more of like who exactly from our lineage, what, country or not country, but what village we're from in India as well. But that's kind of what my understanding is.
That's powerful. That's so beautiful. And the other thing I was going to ask you, did you spend any time? How long did you live in Fiji before coming to the US, or were you born here?
Yes, me and my sister are the first generation in my family that's born here in the US. And we would always go back to Fiji pretty often when we were younger. And then there was a time where we hadn't gone, and I went back after 14 years. It was a trip for me and my sister back in, I think it was 2013 or 2014, where we were going back after 14 years and we were going without our parents. And that
Wow.
was such an amazing trip. And um, I've gone, a few times here and there, but that's a place that is near and dear to my heart. Like I love it so much. And if I always say like jokingly, I'm like, I want to just go live there and just be, whether
Yes.
that's for a month, 6 months, because the land to me is so sacred.
Mm.
And I just love it so much. I love it so, so, so much.
Wow. Wow. That is so powerful and so empowering. So I want to talk about your career coaching and what made you want to specifically want to start this, and particularly, for women, to be able to assist women.
Yes. I think about this so often because I honestly have been doing career coaching for like I've been, coaching, mentoring for over 10 years, but like career coaching the last 8 years. But really didn't identify myself as a career coach until like this last year because I was resisting so much of wanting to be a career coach. I was like, I just enjoy doing it for fun. But I had a business coach who was like, I really can see you doing career coaching. And I was like, all right, like I will give it a try. And I'm like, this is literally what I'm meant to do. Because I just love all things career because I think when we think about career, we think about this is a job that we have to go to that's going to give us a paycheck. But you get to really learn about yourself, about through your strengths, areas of improvement. And so specifically for women, I think it's because a lot of the times there aren't as many women leaders in the room or on the boards. And I really want to work with women to get to that point where it's helping them, get into a promotion to a manager role, or
Mm.
something higher level. And also doing a lot of unlearning. A lot of the work that I do with the women that I work with is like doing a lot of unlearning. Sometimes we can't see ourselves in a higher position because we haven't been able to see that across,
Wow.
the board. So I think that that's something why I'm so passionate about career coaching, especially
Yeah.
for women.
Wow. Especially, in the first few months of 2025, more than 300,000 women of color have left the labor force.
Wow.
You understand? And more than 518,000 are still absent since the
Mhm,
pandemic. And what that tells me, Kristine, is that a lot of women, and particularly women of color,
mhm,
are looking to forge their own way. They're looking to forge their own way. Many things that you spoke about in becoming a career coach and having that alongside the other work that you're doing. I can see that you were a part of that wave of women who decided that they're leaving the workforce. Now, I know they were talking about more than 300 and something women were laid off, but a lot of those women who were laid off took severance packages to leave because I've talked to them. Not all. Now, I don't want to say that. But do you think, because this is an astronomical amount of
mhm.
women, who have come out of the workforce, do you think that there will be a rise of women returning, but not returning in a traditional way, returning back as, really coming back with a passion and a love for the careers that they want? That's number one. Number two, for new positions, that's another. And also creating their own businesses where they can then employ other women to join them in the labor force.
Yes, I love that so much. And thank you so much for sharing the numbers. I think that's
Mhm.
so incredible to hear and see. And I'm like thinking, I'm like, a lot of women are leaving because they're probably burnt out. And again, like a lot of the layoffs, I feel like were impacting a lot of people of color, women of color specifically as well. Um,
Yes.
and again, it's just like not being heard or seen when you're in the space, in the rooms, in the meetings. And I think that that can be really detrimental to their own mental health,
Yes.
how they feel about themselves and the job. One, I want to share. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of women creating their own businesses, creating their own organizations, and I love that. I love to see that because then they can go get employed at these big corporations, whether it's like them coming in to host like a retreat or a training. And I think that's how I'm seeing a lot of women of color going back to work, where it's like I now established my own business, but I'm
Yes.
open to getting contracted or something through an organization to maybe do retreats, things like that. But I would also say, like, I am seeing a lot of women going back to work as well. And that can be
Mhm.
maybe finally, recovering from that burnout and now knowing like they don't have to go above and beyond, right? They can do the bare minimum and what's on, what they need to do and clock off at the right time versus like going above and beyond, burning out. So I
Yes.
do see a lot of women also going back to work as well.
Yeah, that's powerful. So, what would you say to the women out there listening? Just the women. And, what are some tips that you would give them, as a therapist, as a career coach, that you would really give women in this time that they can begin to start incorporating into their lives, into their careers, into their practice, whether they're independent or whether they're working in corporate America, that can assist them?
Yes. And I saw this question of like as career wise, and something that I really wanted to share was I think this is going to be helpful for women, whether they're in the career force or maybe they're opening their own business. It's like you will always say know your magic and know yourself,
Yes.
and that is something that I love when it comes to career.
Move. I think something's on the microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Sorry.
That's
Uh,
okay.
is like really knowing yourself. And when I say know yourself, it's like knowing your strengths, right? And leading with that. If you're a
Mm,
people person or if you like to plan and organize, like lead with that, especially when you're going to go into your career. You're like, hey, I'm someone who really enjoys, planning. Then maybe you're going into events. Or if you're someone who loves talking to people, maybe you're going into training, like do something that's going to fuel your passion and bring you joy when it comes to career. So knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, but then also knowing your areas of improvement. So like if you're going
mm,
into a new job, you're like, I really want to strengthen my public speaking, or if I really want to, maybe my people management skills, like knowing your areas of improvement so you can also strengthen those when you're in your new position or your current role. Um, and something I feel like we don't take advantage of is like network.
wow.
Whether like I think about this space here, right? Like the soul family, and it's really like everyone has different skills, backgrounds, strengths, and it's like networking to know who's in your industry, or maybe they know someone who knows someone that's looking, like let's just say, someone is looking for a wellness person to come do a retreat. It's like I know a ton of wellness people that can come and host a retreat or run a meditation class. And so like really knowing your network community and also sharing what you do, because sometimes we can be so afraid to one share what we're doing. Like
Yeah.
sometimes that's something that I'm also overcoming, is like sharing what you're doing. And when I say network, it's like also outside of like your core friends, maybe you're networking in a community event, meeting new people, and telling people what you do. And then lastly, this one I feel like is like one of the biggest one, is like really align with your values. Anyone that I ever meet, that's something I always want to leave them with, is know your values, because that's going to help you in when you're looking for a new role, a new position. It's like, does this job and company actually align with my values? I'm
Mm,
doing them as well. If this place is not going to bring me joy, maybe they don't have the flexibility that's going to give me the freedom to kind of move around or be creative. Like really knowing your values is going to help you really make a better decision when it comes to career and anything that you're doing.
wow. That is powerful. That is powerful. Everyone is loving the conversation here. They are loving it so much. Sammy said, "This is such a beautiful conversation. Thank you both."
Yeah.
Yes, so powerful. And you guys can definitely reach out to Kristine. You can connect with her on Instagram, and you will see it going past. It's Kristine. And how do you say Kristine? Is it, how do you say it?
Kristine Vidya.
Vidya. And Vidya is your middle name, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And what does that mean? Share with us what Vidya means. Is it native to your lineage?
So, I'm actually named after my paternal grandmother, my Aji. Her name was Vidya. And so my middle name is in honor of her, and it means knowledge, um,
Wow.
knowledge, wisdom. And so I'm like, that is perfect for me because I love knowledge. I love like,
Yeah.
learning, but I also like to sharing my knowledge as well. So I think that's so fitting for me.
I love that. Vidya. Vidya. I love it. Kristine Vidya. I love it. Sing. And your last name, Sing. That is so profound. So, Kristine, this has been beautiful. I have loved this conversation with you. I always end with an activation. And so, I want, if every first gen women who are listening, first generation woman listening, could walk away, and what you talked about that, but I want to ask you this with one unapologetic truth from you, part therapist, part coach, part intuitive guide. What would that spell of truth be?
Whew, the first thing that's coming to me right now, I'm just going to share is that I am powerful. You are powerful, right? And
Yeah.
like I was, when I first shared about being first generation, being a superpower, it's like really knowing that, right? I think that sometimes we might see it as a disadvantage, like, oh, I'm first gen. I had to, go through these loops and hurdles and barriers. But you know what? That is a superpower. And so know that you are powerful, and really own your journey and your story.
That is profound. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to say thank you so much, Kristine, for walking into this space and letting your quiet roar tonight. Because you did. You did. You did. You let your quiet roar. And also to the Soul family. This is what divine timing is all about, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to bring this series back. It's the return of the givers, the one who bridged the worlds and bring medicine we didn't even know that we needed at this time. So I love you so much, Kristine. Thank you so much for being a part of the Soul family, sharing with us. You guys reach out to Kristine, especially those of you who want to get some career coaching. And I know Kristine offers an exploratory magic session, I like to call it, where you can speak to her. Maybe you're not sure, what direction you want to go in with your career, and you're looking for a coach. You're looking for someone who, number one, is so intuitive, very, very, very highly intuitive, very kind and loving being, and so knowledgeable at what she does, and really, really has the understanding, and that foundation. She's a licensed therapist as well too, and a soul sister. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. So definitely, you guys want to reach out to Kristine and connect with her as well. You can follow her on social. Her Instagram information is there, at Kristine Vidya, Vidya, and that's Kristine with a K, that you'll be able to connect with her. Yeah. So
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Ms.Blue. It has been such an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Always, always. All right. Until next time, you guys, because we got a lot of stuff that's going to be going on. Until next time, I want you to all keep living in your higher insight, keep trusting your frequency, and keep honoring the timing of your soul. So peace and love, soul family, peace and love. Wait, you want to take some questions? I just thought about it. I just thought your guys just came in and said, "Wait a minute, we want questions.
Oh my goodness.
Let's take some
Yeah,
questions."
why not? Why not? Why not? Let's
Yeah. So yeah, let's do that. What was I thinking?
Oh my God. I'm like, what guide popped through right now?
Listen, one of your spirit guides, honey, popped in and said, "Oh no, we need questions, Miss Blue." So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take some questions. If you all have questions, please put them in the chat. Want to give a big shout out to the Soul family in the building. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you can know whenever we're going live. But you guys, if you have some questions, definitely drop them in the chat. We got to wait a minute. It's kind of on delay right now. So they're all thinking we getting ready to go. But no, we going to get some questions in here, because I know y'all got some questions. I know y'all got some questions for Kristine. Yeah. So while they're listening to that, we're gonna play a little bit of music. Let me see here. Hmm. Let
Hey,
me
the day
see.
in the house. What
Yeah.
up?
We're gonna play the intro again while we get the
Turned
questions.
all the way on. This ain't just a vibe, it's a freak scene bomb. Miss Blue in the building, Oracle flow, cracking codes of the cosmos. Now you already know. Yeah. Ride the wave, feel the light. It's frequency love tonight. Miss Blue gon' take you higher, burning truth with sacred fire. Stay hungry. This is soul talk, rebirth from the womb. Say it with me, I can alter my course at any time. Yeah. Tap in, turn on. Yo, your higher self already logged in.
All right. All right. So let's see, Kristine. Hopefully, they'll catch up with us in a minute because they're still over here. They're all saying, Kristine, come back. Kristine got to come back. You got to bring Kristine back. Yes. All right. So we do have a question here. So let me pull it up. How would you tell someone who is a fourth generation of the family uh, to create that new or first generation of wealth?
Ooh, I love that question. The first thing I'm thinking, I'm like, everyone has a different definition of wealth. And
Mhm.
um, but I'm gonna just take it to what's coming for me. Um, yeah, someone who's fourth generation of the family to create new or first generation wealth. And maybe this is me because I am very creative. I would say like really do something that you enjoy. Um, and really understand what does wealth mean for you, whether that's like money, or do you want to be wealthy where it's like you're able to spend more time with your family and you're more in close proximity to them. Because when I think about wealth, to me it's like being in the same state, same city with my family and being able to have those like precious moments together. Because I feel like as you get older you don't really get to have those moments. But if you're thinking about money, it's like how can you grow your money, whether that's in your career or maybe doing something that you're passionate about to where you can also earn an income as well. I think that could be something that you can do.
Yeah. Powerful. Powerful. Here's another question. Have you ever run someone's astrology or utilized spiritual practice with your psychology in addition to your intuition?
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And so I personally have not yet. I'm going to say yet because that is something, yes, that's something that I definitely want to do. Unfortunately, with the population that I work with as a therapist, um, that's not something that I feel like I could bring into the room. A lot of the times, I do work with younger kids right now in the therapy setting. And I know through Ms.Blue that kids are highly intuitive, very spiritual beings, but
Yes.
sometimes I'm in session with their parents and I don't really know what their beliefs are and how and all this kind of stuff that there's those like small barriers that come in the way. So I haven't, unfortunately, but when I do open my own like private practice as a therapist, that's something that I definitely want to incorporate. But as a career coach, that is something that I do has I have as an option in case people are interested in doing that.
Powerful, powerful. And even if you're not using it with the client, you're always using it with yourself. So it's kind of incorporated anyway. Yeah, yeah.
Very true. Thank you.
Excellent. Great questions, you guys. Great questions. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Powerful, powerful.
Yay.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, any other questions? If there's no more questions, we're going to close out. I know you all are loving this information. You guys are now running on over to Instagram, getting connected with Kristine now as we speak. And I absolutely love that. But if you have any other questions, you can definitely leave those in the comment section below. And I'm sure Kristine will come back and she will answer them as well. So we're going to get ready to get out of here. Kristine, love you so much. So grateful for you, Soul Family. Thank you for coming on, sharing your beautiful light with us tonight and giving us some insight that we can all take away. So we're going to get out of here. Peace and love to you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Make sure you keep your notifications on because you just never know when divine timing is going to hit you again. So peace and love. Peace and love, Soul Family. Peace and love. Ciao.